May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all, dear viewers, and welcome to your program Fatawa. So today we will talk about a very important topic, which is marriage in Islam, the importance of marriage in Islam, the couple in Islam, how to choose a spouse, how to treat our wife or our husband, what are the problems occurring within the married couple, and what's the best way to solve them. Plenty of questions that we are going to treat within this episode. But before we start, allow me to salute our guest, Dr. Sami Mandour, professor at Al-Azhar University. Welcome, Dr. Sami. We're going to start talking about the importance of marriage in Islam.
In the name of God, and may the blessings of Allah be upon our Prophet Muhammad, his family and his companions. When we talk about the marriage is very important in our life, and the institution of the marriage is also urgent and necessary in our life. Starting from the marriage, the humanity will live forever and till God decide, till the judgment, the day of judgment, because it's the reproduction starting from this marriage, it's the reproduction, the legitimate reproduction of the humanity. Here, what we mean, it's a very important thing, a legitimate thing or a licit thing for the humanity. This is the first point. The second point, as Muslims, when we talk about the marriage, for us as Muslims, it's something that can permit or allow us to satisfy our needs, our sexual needs also. The Islam, it's not only a religion, only for moralities and a certain degree, or to respond to certain degrees of this idea, but also it's to respond to certain needs, material needs, and also to realize a balance. And if you don't permit or you don't allow the man these things, he will not be very calm. He will not pursue his life in a normal way. It's instinctive, and these needs are very important, and we have to fill these needs. And to talk or to mention something, one of the best principles of the Sharia is the facility. So we have to facilitate things, so we can't complicate things. We shouldn't complicate things. And we have also to mitigate things, so which means that we are living in normally like humans. We are humans, so we have to live like humans. It's an opportunity also for it's an opportunity to remind you a hadith for the Prophet of our Muhammad, peace be upon him, that the marriage reflect for us the moderate Islam, the moderate Islam. So God, this community must be the moderate Islam, that must interpret and express the moderate Islam. And for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, certain persons were asking him about the adorations of the Prophet and the acts of the Prophet that God really recommend for us. So they answered to these questions. Certain persons, certain companions answered these questions. And first of all, they considered these adorations of the Prophet Muhammad like minimized adorations, and for them it was minimized, and for them, which means that the prophet, as a prophet, should do something maybe bigger, and also we can seek forgiveness from God, and of course the prophet can't add other adorations. And as mentioned about the hadith, when the wives of the Prophet Muhammad were informed the others about the adorations of the Prophet Muhammad, they were a little bit like shocked about these adorations. Like, for example, we are three persons. The first category of these persons, we say, I decide to fast and to do not stop fasting, or to do not stop fasting or quit fasting. So I have also to pray late at night, or the night prayers, for example. I will not sleep. And the third said, the marriage is one of the facility of life, and the aspect of life. So I must avoid this marriage. And she said that I will not marry any woman. This is our subject. The Prophet in this situation heard those persons what they knew about the marriage. So he went out and said, you said 1, 2, 3, and they said yes. And he tried also to give a lesson, a very important lesson, just to teach them the best ways and the best things. He said that I am one of the persons who are invoking God, and so you have also, which means that this doesn't mean that I have to be isolated from the others, but I have, of course, to do every day. For example, I have to perform the night prayers, and it doesn't mean that I have to terminate the fast, and so I shouldn't go and to seek the desires of life. As a prophet, he said, I fast, and also and after that also I can eat, or and I pray and I sleep, and which means I pray and I sleep. And also I married a woman. The conclusion, those who wants to follow me, to follow my sunnah, and those who doesn't want to follow my sunnah, who doesn't want to apply my sunnah, my way, these persons will not be from my community. They are not from the real community, Muslim community. The good Muslim who tries to realize in his life and to know that the marriage realize this balance in life, and it's also something, it's the best way, the licit way to form the family, to have a family. The family is the first silal in the society. So we have the society who's becoming to be a community after that. The individuals and the members of this cell are more balanced psychologically and religiously. So we have to realize this balance between the material life and the spiritual life. The marriage is necessary and urgent to really realize this family, which means the first cell of the community, the Muslim community. So that's why the Islam gave a very important thing to the marriage, and so as a Muslim, what do you really need? So as a humans, you need to have a family, you need to have a children, and the first thing we have to do as a humans who wants really to be a father, for a young man who wants to be a father, is to choose the mother, the future mother for his children. It's the first step, and the first phase is to educate these children. We have to choose a good mother for that, and so we have to choose
a good mother.
A mother. I will give you an example. Someone, he came to Khalifa Umar to complain against his son. No, it's
against his
to
own
complain
son.
against his son, to complain about against his son. He said that he was accusing him as an unfaithful, ungrateful person. So he asked question to Umar, what are the rights? What are the rights for my father? What will be my obligations? With my father, and the son must choose a mother. The second thing, he has to choose a good name, a beautiful name. The third point, he has to learn, and you have to teach him the Quran. So you have three conditions, necessary conditions that can allow you, and you can ask your son how to obey you also. So you need to realize for him these three things. And the son, Umar, this is what was the answer of the Umar. And the son said that my father, he didn't choose my mother. My father also didn't give me a beautiful name, gave me another name, different name, and he didn't teach me the Quran. And Umar, what did he answer to the man? He answered him that he told him that you didn't realize the needs of your son, so you were not really good for your son. So the mother must marry someone very important. So this is very important thing, to choose a good mother for your son.
I just want to ask you a question. What are the criteria based on which the husband is going to choose his wife?
In our traditions, in the Quran and the Sunnah, there is always answers, because we have, for example, a very important hadith in this topic, for this topic, said that the woman should be married for four things. So we have four criteria to choose a young woman to be your wife. So the woman can be, or you can, for example, go and marry a woman for her money, or maybe because if she's a rich woman, and also for her family, for her relatives, and for her beauty, and for her religion. So we have four criteria, very important criteria.
Can we say them in French?
The first criteria is she has to be rich. So you can go and you ask the father to marry his daughter, because this woman is a rich woman. So here you're targeting the money. The second reason or criteria is the relatives. The family is noble family, or is a big family, good family. This is the second criteria. The third thing And the third also for her beauty, the beauty of the woman. And the fourth criteria is the religion. This woman must respect the principles of the religion, and at least she's a virtuous woman. But these four criteria are gathered, all of them? Or can I, for example, choose one criteria, or I have to seek the four criteria? The hadith mentioned the fourth criteria, but he didn't mention that we have to choose only this woman only for that criteria. So we have four criteria that we can base our choices and or to choose a woman or to marry her. There is other hadith that can show us more details. When you choose a woman based on the beauty, and we have also another hadith that you can't marry a woman for their beauty, because their beauty can be something very positive. So we shouldn't to marry. Don't try to get married with a beautiful woman only for their beauty, because this beauty can lead this woman to the lost. It's like what the Prophet told us, that we shouldn't seek only the beauty. It could be criteria, but it's not the only criteria that we can base our choice. What is the best criteria to choose a woman? It's the virtuous woman who's a religious woman, and the best
she will take care of our children, of your house.
Yes, it's not only the virtuous woman, because in the other sense, and also the man should be virtuous man. In the hadith, if someone came to marry your daughter and he is a virtuous, we have to choose him as a religious person. For example, I'm a father. If a virtuous man came to me and to ask me for the marriage with my daughter, and if you saw this person is virtuous person, we need that, which means if you accept this person, which means that I accept this person to be the husband of my daughter. In this case, if he wasn't virtuous, and this which means that I accept many bad things for me and for the community also. And in this case, it will be corruption and also the bad repercussions on the society, on the community. And these are the criteria. The Prophet said also that you can marry a woman for four criteria, for the four criteria that I mentioned. So the Prophet choose choose the religion, the importance of the religion in the marriage of the woman. So we have to seek for a virtuous woman. Here we can face maybe many problems if the woman is not virtuous. So this will cause many problems. These are the very important criteria to choose a woman who can be a mother for our children.
I want to go back to the question, why do we get married? Why don't we live alone without marriage.
Here, for the Islam, or in Islam, we should have a family. We need
Is
to
it
have
a
a
way
family.
to honor the couple, marriage,
To honor the
and the
woman,
sacred life
the
of
couple, and
within
the
marriage?
family. It's to have a solid family, to have a family where the members are all together and solidaire together. So it's not only to have sexual reports or sexual relation with the woman, but the target, the objective, is to have a family. So it's something that can allow us and can give this place to the woman. It's a very noble place, and she must have all the qualities, the privilege, and is a woman. She's a queen in her house.
This is what I wanted to say. She's a queen. She's
Yeah,
a gem.
it's a jewel.
I guess all women are very happy now. We're going to take a short break and then come back. Welcome back, dear viewers. We are broadcasting from international studios of Iqraa, and we're talking about the marriage in Islam with our guest, Dr. Sami Mandour, professor at Al-Azhar University. Dr. Sami, can we recite some verses concerning marriage?
Yeah, we have many chapters from the Quran, and they all mention the marriage. And the most important chapter, it's from the verse of the Nur, where God said that here in this chapter, so we had to marry. It's an order from God to for the fathers and the mothers to marry their daughters for their chastity, to preserve this chastity for the man and for the woman also, because if we can't find very other way or another way to preserve this chastity, so we have to seek the best way. It's the marriage, the legal marriage. For us as a Muslim, the marriage is the legal one, and this will preserve also the relatives and the relations and the community. We have also this chapter that Adam, and from Adam God created his spouse and his wife. So we have this couple, Adam and Eve, and from this couple, all the humanity, we saw this humanity, and between, so there is a continuity, the sustainability of the humanity, starting from Adam and Eve. And here he showed us how to live calm. This relation, this marriage relation, this will realize the tranquility, the serenity, and so in this chapter also God created all spouses and to seek with this spouse the serenity, the tranquility, and this we can prove as you saw in this chapter. So which means that the man was created, so they have to cover each other's.
Very well. Can we take a few questions, because we have received plenty of them via email and Facebook concerning the marriage and the importance of family in Islam. I had a question from Gigi Hezia concerning the choice of the spouses. I am Algerian, I am a Muslim, and I live in France. I live with a French guy who has converted to Islam, but he doesn't practice, he doesn't go to the mosque, he doesn't fast, he doesn't pray, and he smokes and drink alcohol. He doesn't want to listen to me. Whenever I tell him and I try to advise him, he doesn't listen to me, even though he is pretending to be a Muslim. I wear the headscarf and I practice my religion, and I'm waiting for a baby from this man. What kind of path shall I take in order to remain living with this man? Is it permissible for me to continue living with this man even though he doesn't practice his religion? And if not, am I going to face hellfire if I continue living with him?
Here we are in this refuge. So as we said, we have to choose. We have to choose something that can allow us to live in a good way. We are together in the same apartment. We are waiting for a child. So we have to do our best to resolve our problems, internal problems. In this apartment, you have, for example, a couple, or a house. We have a couple. One are we considering this man as someone not Muslim? So I will ask the question, and starting from here, so we can tell her that this man is not a Muslim, or does he still Muslim? So what kind of advices we can give her? And starting from this question, regarding this question, I don't see that this man is neglecting, but if he creates, for example, if he doesn't pray, and maybe he's consuming alcoholic drinks, or he's committing sins, very major sins. So I have questions. What is he doing? Is it illicit or no? But if he believes that what he's doing are illicit or not permissible, so he believes that these acts are illicit, so I can't say that this person is not Muslim, so which means that he's still a Muslim, because he believes that his acts are illicit, are not permissible. So he's drinking, consuming alcoholic drinks, and doesn't praying, or he's not fasting, and he smokes because this will terminate the fast. So if we ask him these questions, if you do this because these things doesn't mean the Islam, everything we are doing is not the Islam, because we can't. And you know that the interdictions of the Islam, like to do not consume the consumption of the alcoholic drinks. And regarding these interdictions, if they are a part of the Islam, so this, which means that he approves that he's committing certain acts, not allowed acts. So we have to ask the woman that she has to do everything to guide, based on her style, on her behavior, how to deal with this person, and to try to show him that everything he's doing is not the Islam. So she has to advise him, to guide him, or to guide him to the right way. Maybe he has no information about the Islam, the convictions and about all the interdictions of the Islam. So her role is to lead him to the right way. She has to try, and she has to do the necessary, and but her role will be certainly the paradise if she does so.
The husband knows perfectly well that Islam prohibits consuming alcohol and cannot abandon this habit.
So he must have this habit to terminate the consumption of the alcohol. Doesn't mean that he can't, so he doesn't want.
The will, he doesn't have the will
proceed the decision or the power to do something. It's a human. When we are human, so we must have this will.
Yeah, but some people will try to quit smoking but cannot quit smoking.
If he has this will, so he must have the power. And if the will, and we add also the power,
it's very difficult in reality to practice this.
So he has to try. And also for her, and if he tries, he can reach something. For example, I want to terminate the consumption of the alcoholic drinks. The first thing that I have to do, why shall we stop?
What are the reasons?
So what will be the reasons? First, the reasons for the health, and maybe for another reason, because it's prohibited, because God didn't allow us to consume alcoholic drinks. But if we choose the second reason, so you will not realize what you want. But if you will stop for this intention, based on your intention, because God told us that it's not allowed to consume drinks. So this intention, we must interpret it by the decision, by the will. So we must have this reason. The first reason is God, and the second reason because this is very it harms the health. And God will help us also to forgive things,
he is
many
consuming
things.
alcohol. How am I going to stand up and
So
perform
we
my
must
prayer?
remember many chapters in the Quran, like this one. So how you can stand in front of God and you don't know how to say and what to say because you're drunk. So you can read the Fatiha because you have to read the chapters of Quran. You have to read the Fatiha and you have to read the other chapters. This woman must do everything to improve the situation of her husband. So she has to guide him to the right way. Obligation for the duties, it's something equal. So she has to do the necessary things for her husband, wishing that her husband can respond to certain advices, or because they are waiting for a child. Maybe the arrival of these children will change many things.
It might change his life. This baby might change his life.
Yes, this what I'm saying. She will be in paradise because.
And if women succeeds in changing him and makes him stop consuming alcohol, but he cannot stick to praying.
In this case, we can start gradually.
So she's on the good
path. To start by the minimum, and after that she can this will be improved.
It will come step by step. Things are going to change radically. If he cannot stop consuming alcohol, he doesn't pray, he doesn't behave as a good Muslim, what shall this woman do? And we need to keep in mind that she's waiting for a baby.
When we talk about a family who's a built family already, so we have to take into consideration this family, but we have a condition that this man doesn't neglect his duties. This man also shouldn't also neglect or reject the obligations of the Islam. If he doesn't approve the obligations and he doesn't apply them, this obligation, he doesn't apply the principles of the Islam, so she can try to preserve the family, to save the family, and she has the right also to seek for the divorce in this case if he doesn't respect the family, because she can't handle life with him if he continues to act in this way. But she has to be patient and she has to try to do the maximum to guide him. I think she can
and she can live normally with him, waiting that maybe, inshallah, he is going to change.
He has to know about the obligations of the Islam. So those who are doing the scenes, but if she can't handle any, or she can't correct him, and she can't handle life with him, so there is another issue. The other issue is the Islam is the last issue.
Another question. I said, has a brother who has memorized the Quran in its entirety, but my parents don't want to see him because we're not from the same background, we don't have the same origins.
Here, what we call it, the marriage here, it's the equality. When we talk about the equality between both sex, but if the origin is a part of this equality, but this difference of origins, psychology and socially, can be obstacle in front of this life, logically and in a scientific base, also in different other situations, no. So this is the hadith. We can base this signification to the hadith, so we have to accept is directed to the parents. So if the girl accepts this man as a husband, and she accepts also if the father and the mother also must also respect these conditions, and based on these conditions, so the father must seek the permission also from his daughter, and he has to take her opinion because she's the virgin, if she agrees with this marriage or not. And so we have this rule, so we have to take the permission of the virgin, the case of the virgin girl. So the father must go and seek the permission from his daughter. If he has, for example, also another daughter, she's an ex-woman, she's an ex-wife, so she's not virgin, so he has to, so she can give order to her father to let her have this man as a husband.
We have only 10 seconds because we need to take a short break. Shall we take this break and then come back? Give viewers a short break. Welcome back, dear viewers. We're talking about marriage in Islam and the importance of marriage in Islam. The question before the break was concerning the choice of the husband. So the other question concerning marriage, we talked about the same origin of the husband and the wife. I want to go back to the definition of the origin. Does it mean, is it related to the wealth of the husband or the wife, or the nationality, race?
In Islam, all men are equal. With
There's
no
no
other
color, no race.
considerations, discrimination, the color, the sex, or the race, because we are all from the same origin. All the humanity have only one origin. The Prophet also confirmed that, especially in his speech, the last speech, you are all coming from Adam. So you have an Arab and you have others, non-Arab. So there is no preferences for one comparing with the other. Which means also those who are very close to God are the most virtuous persons. The virtuous, so they can assume the responsibility of the marriage. He can assume the minimum of the responsibilities of the marriage, and he has to get married, because if he will not marry her, maybe there will be corruption on earth.
Is the obedience to the parents obligatory? Even if this husband is good, he fasts, he prays, he can bear the responsibility.
Yeah, the woman, the girl must do this and to obey to God, and God order her to obey to her husband. And also she has, and God also, she has to wait also, for example, for the rewards of God, and He will give her a virtuous man. So she has to obey to her father, but she has to insist to get married with this man. And this will also accuse the morality of this young
We have
man.
another question from Najwa Belkhair. I want to know if we are obliged to do a civil marriage after the religious marriage, because my husband doesn't want this civil marriage and he says that the religious marriage is
Here we can
sufficient.
ask the question: are they in the Muslim country or in another country like France? In the countries, Muslim countries, there is differences, because we have the Sheikh, the Mandour, and in the mosque or in the house, and just for example, to do a contract
This is
of
the
marriage.
civil act.
Here we have the contract
The
of
civil
marriage.
contract.
At the same time, he will declare that the contract of the marriage, how to promote this marriage also, and he has to read the. So he has, of course, to do this act of marriage, and he also shows the form of this contract. So he has to pronounce all these things. No, when we are talking about the contract of the marriage that fulfills all the conditions of the marriage. So we have the agreement of the father, we have the dowry, and we have many things that follow this contract. So we have all the aspects, all. For example, in Egypt or in another country,
It's
Muslim
systematic.
country, we do everything. In France, for example, the marriage,
Why?
the religious, is not approved. And the authorities take into consideration only the civilian marriage. And even in the certain country, certain Muslim countries, or in the majority of the Muslim countries, they take into consideration this civilian marriage, these papers. So we have to declare religiously our marriage. First, we have this question. If this civil marriage fulfills all the conditions, for example, the dowry, and you have also the agreement of the responsible of the girl, and as I said, the dowry, you have the witnesses, and you have the declaration. We have also all these things, and these things are shown in the contract, the marriage contract, the religious contract, and without so if you can do this contract, only civil contract, without starting with the religious contract. And in France also, those punish France, the authority punish for them the religious contract is an oral act. So it's a gathering, it's a kind of a gathering, and it's not recognized by the authorities. If we sign a contract in the municipality, and also the French law would take it into consideration, if you're trying to get married, you can fulfill all the conditions of the validity of the marriage, and after that you can go with both families, and you can declare after, if you didn't so and you started with a civil marriage, you can declare your marriage in a mosque, or but we have to start with the contract, religious contract.
Abu Bakr, a husband and the wife don't like each other. They stop loving each other. The husband beats his wife, and he constantly reminds her that she doesn't look beautiful anymore. He doesn't take care of the children. Is polygamy the solution for establishing peace within this family, this destroyed family?
Here we have two questions. First, we have the relations between the man and the woman.
He beats her, he insults her.
Here we have the principle. So he have to treat her in a good way. This is the rule, and he has to carry this behavior with his woman. He must respect her, and for that reason he has to choose this manner, this good manner, how to deal with the woman.
I want to ask a very important question. How should we treat our wife? And how should the wife treat her husband?
So you can resume this, and you can, between you and her, it's to realize the objective of the so we have So there is a reason for this marriage. So regarding this chapter of the Quran, so starting from you, he created also spouses from you. So you are one body, inseparable body. We suppose that if she's a Muslim and they are both of them Muslims, so for me, you have to like for her what you like for yourself. So like here there is a man and there is a woman, and the spouses and the wife, or the wife and the spouses, everything, the affection, the feelings, the tranquility, the serenity, and recommended, it's recommended, even it's obligatory in the life of the couple, the love. And also, and we shouldn't, if we say it's an insult, it's against the principles of the Islam in general. The Muslims shouldn't,
knowing that the Islam has honored
insult
the woman.
And also we have to add something. She's your wife and she's the mother of your children. She's preparing the food for you, and and we have a hadith, a very important hadith about the man and the woman. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said in particular, which means that the man, a believer, this is a very it's a condition. You must be a believer. He should be very respectful to his wife, which means if your woman, your wife or your spouse has all the defects of the world, as a humans, we have the good side and the bad side. We have the quality and we have also the defects. If you find a defect, so you have to see the other side, the good quality or the good thing, the good side. So in the life of the couple, we have to see these sides. If you discovered a defect or a fault with your wife, so you have to remember that she offered you children, and how many years did you live together. So you have to remember all these things to be able to live with her in a good way.
There's another part also. He doesn't like her physically anymore. You know, after marriage, women neglect themselves,
And
maybe.
sometimes there is changes, and this also
Can we
the man can
take this break first and then answer the question? Welcome back, dear viewers. So before the break, the question was this issue about this man who dislikes his wife, doesn't like her anymore because physically he finds that she's not the same as when he first married her.
can happen, and the man must think, though he has to remember the moments of joy with this woman, but she has no right to treat her in a bad way if there is any other justifications. Even so, he has no right to treat her in a bad way, and she has to ask her for the polygamy, and it's not him. If did she believe that it's a solution, the polygamy is a solution for her husband, she has to ask this question. She has now she has to ask this question, because they discussed this problem before, and they proposed the polygamy as a solution, or the diversity of women, to preserve the family, and if she can live with another woman. But if it's the case, there will be another problem. If we suppose if this woman, she will get married after the divorce to start a new life, how can we be equal? This man, how can he be equal to these two women? But maybe the new woman will not allow him maybe to or will push him to marginalize his first woman. The polygamy is not the origin, or it's not the recommended thing, it's not an obligation, it's not the origin of the marriage, it's not an essential. But the essential in the marriage is it's the monogamy, and it's not the polygamy or the many wives. And we have problems, different problems. But the other conditions also, that this man must be very equal for the two women if he will choose another woman. So at the financial
materialistic, which means
level, so he has to ensure everything, the apartment and all the needs for both women. So if he can do so, and he can, and how he will be able to share or to divide his time, or for both women. So we must have this justice for the two women. So we have many questions, especially when we're dealing with the different women at the same time, when a man is married to different women.
What are the conditions for polygamy to be permitted, to take place?
First, the justice. The second thing, we must have a valid reason to marry with another woman. And we have...
I want to talk about the woman. How can she react in front of these bad characteristics of her husband? Does she have to be patient? Does she have to talk to her family?
The answer for both, the answer for the woman and for the man, the patience. And the patience will lead us to paradise, as the hadith of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, will lead us to the good behavior. And if she will handle all the things...
if life becomes unbearable for the wife, she cannot bear it anymore, and the husband doesn't want to divorce, can she untie from this marriage?
We have many ways to untie this marriage. The man can seek for the divorce, and the man also can give to his wife the right to divorce him. And the second thing, we agree.
We say that the authority of divorce is in the hands of the husband.
Yes. If she wants the marriage, she can. obtain the divorce is the first way that can permit to the woman to terminate this marriage.
She has to pay the dowry.
So the amount,
it's
the dowry.
At the end of the
no, you have
in the moment of the divorce, when the divorce takes
dowries.
place.
There is three things for the woman. The first thing, the man, the husband, must give to his wife the right to terminate the marriage. So he can say
so
that she can divorce,
delayed dowry.
Terminate their marriage. For each case, there is sentences. The second way, as I said, is the judiciary divorce. What we mean, the woman sees or in front of the judge, she can say in front of the judge that my life with this man is very bad. I can't support him for any reason. She can give reasons, and he's acting in a bad way, and she has to prove these bad acts to the judge. In this case, the judge can allow the woman to divorce, to terminate the marriage with this man. And for the khul' or the when she anti the marriage, what we mean about khul', when the woman asks the husband to divorce her, and in exchange with an amount of money that she has to give him to divorce her. And this is also mentioned in the Quran. So she can buy and to obtain her freedom from this relation. She has a total right based on the Quran and also based on the Sunnah. And also she can complain against her husband. She can't handle him. And the Prophet said to her husband that you can accept the garden that she gave it to you and divorce her, terminate the marriage. So this is the khula. This is how to untie the marriage. Now the woman, she has to give him back the garden, and for that the husband will divorce her in exchange of this garden.
But briefly,
just to say that the Islam, he didn't block the woman. He gave her, he gave her all the opportunities and the possibilities to practice her rights. And certain are saying that the Islam gave the right to the man to divorce. And also the woman, she has many ways to terminate the marriage in case if the relations are impossible between the couple.
We're going to talk about this in other episodes, or also because marriage and divorce are very vast topics, and we have so many things to say about them. I have another question from Yusuf. I wanted to know if I can marry my cousin, but the problem is that her elder brother was breastfed by my mother, and my brother was breastfed from my aunt, so they have the same age, and I want to have an answer from you, if
here it's a question,
possible.
A difficult question, because when it concerns of breastfeed, we have also a hadith this breastfeed will maybe terminate a certain marriage or terminate the marriage, and to give good answers. So we have to ask him certain questions. In these questions, so he must go to an expert to seek the answers from an expert, and he has to tell him about this story, about the origin, and we have the principle. For example, a woman gave the breastfeed from to me. So all the sons and the daughters from this woman are not allowed for me. If any member from this woman or my mother gave breastfeed to a member of this woman, so this is an interdiction also, and this interdiction, the both of them are affected by this interdiction, so it's not allowed from them.
So they are brothers and sisters.
Her mother gave me a breastfeed.
Please, slowly. If I was breastfed from this woman, my brother can marry
has no relation with him.
The daughter of this woman?
I am the brother for the others. And the same, vice versa. Here the girl was breastfed by my mother. So they are my sisters and my brothers. In this case, for those who are gathered to all of them to the same mother, and they were breastfed from the same mother, those who are gathered from the same mother. For that's why the reason, what I advise him, it's to go to an expert to get the detailed informations, and to get and he has also to tell him about the story. We are giving generality, but in his case and based on his principles, he has to know how it works. So he has to go to see to the committee of the decree or the fatwa, and to give him the good answer.
Unfortunately, we have come to the end of this episode. In 10 seconds, can you tell people, the dear viewers, those who want to get married, 1, 2, 3, what are the advice
first
you want to give them?
So they have to choose. They have to choose a good mother, and the woman must choose also the good man. The first procedure is to have a good choice. The second thing, we have to keep in mind all the advices and the recommendations of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for the choice. And 3, before choosing, we have to think.
Very well.
To think deep. So we have to choose, obey or to orders and the advices of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Dr. Sami Mandour, yes, it's a vast topic. We're going to treat it in other episodes. Thank you very much for being with us, dear viewers. Thank you for your attention, and we'll meet again, inshallah, very soon. May God bless you.
Fatawa.